Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1971-74 card set analysis of the 1974 box. We've completed 2 segments and got the American League looked at. So we are going to move into the National League tonight. We're going to go to the National League East and into the National League North. Starting with Atlanta, and their keepers would be Rico Carty, Mo Drabowski, Davey Johnson, Mike McQueen. So Davey Johnson, it's got a nice card, but we already know we're going to take the 73 card. And what a big come down that was after hitting 43 homers the year previous. Mike McQueen, now this is again one of those handwritten cards I'll put into the league. He acquired some stats here in 15 innings, but his card exists to just redraft talent into 640 places instead of 570 places, so 32 teams would have 20 players. That's the role of adding these guys. Otherwise, all those expansion teams would be dreadful. They wouldn't have any source of players other than fringe extra players. The other guys are on this list, so that means that all the other Brave keepers must be kept in an earlier year. So we'll take a look at their rookies. And they have Vic Correll, nice catcher. John Doherty, first baseman, kind of ordinary, nothing really special here. 256. Leo Foster, not crazy about that either. Roland Office, good defensive outfielder, one-way player. Craig Robinson, just a shortstop, nothing special. Buzz Capra, okay, here's a guy. Buzz. Oh, look at this guy. 2.28 ERA in 200 innings. If you got an opening in your rotation for a right-hander, which could be tough, because they got Negro and I think they got Carl Morton, another righty. But my goodness, you got to get this guy in the league as a starter 8 and demolishes righties. So Capra gets in. You just got to find a spot or kick somebody out of the rotation and put Capra in instead. That's outstanding. As is this guy, Tom House. That's a nice 1-2 punch. House in the bullpen, 100 innings, a $1.92. Max Leone, he's also okay. Not as good as the other 2 guys, but he's still good. Wow, so great pitching. Where'd that come from, Atlanta? Capra, House. That makes up for a lot. So this box was going pretty downhill for Atlanta because we didn't have a keeper we liked, and the first rookie hitters weren't very good. But pitching is the name of the game in 1974 for your hot Atlanta Braves. All right, next up, your Florida Marlins. In Florida, Marty Martinez, Felix Millan, Jose Pagan, Roger Repos. Of those, Millan's probably the most successful player. He's a steady, everyday player. Full season here, he was a Met. Known for defense and the ability to bunt, hit, and run. Sometimes steal bases. So this is a pretty typical Millan card. Good enough to get into the league. Again, there's no other cards here. We're 4 years out. So again, in this particular 4th and final season, the keepers are mostly going to come in the earlier seasons. And the rookies have a tendency to come from the 4th season out. Speaking of rookies, Jim Washer Dwyer. Wow, he's a 300 hitting corner outfielder with power, 279. Don't say 300. Oh, that's an out, and that's a 1-4. Can play center field for you in a platoon. The Carmen Fun Zone, not as good this year. He was better last year. Pepe Frias. Well, 3 at short, but not much more other than versatility. Yeah, versatility's nice, but no stick. Mary Guerrero, a 3 at short, and he actually has a little bit of stick here. Look at that. It's about, what, 256? 246. Higher percent against righties. Buck Martinez. Oh, no throwing arm. That's a shame. We know Buck has a good throwing arm normally. A lot of walks. Fun card. 215. Eduardo Figueroa. Ouch. Don't want to deal with that. It's going to hurt. Can't be that vulnerable against lefties. Same with this guy. That's not going to work. Boy, this guy's really awful. And, oh, that's Ed Figueroa from the, who would be a Yankee. eventually. And then Rodriguez, now he's okay against righties. This isn't too bad against lefties. Like a 3.93 ERA, 3.62 because of a high percentage against righties. 1 to 7's an out. That's pretty nice. Not a lot of homers. Don't like the walk there or there or there, and the single dot there. I don't know. I mean, if the league is short on talent, then yeah. But normally you want your right-handed relievers not to be so vulnerable against lefties. This is actually a handwritten card, and it's kind of funny. It's a handwritten card I wanted to make for Mike Wallace, but I had duplicate Strat-O-Matic cards. This is, oh, I covered it up there too. I think this is, who is this? Name those stats from 1973. I want to say it's like Bill Lee or somebody. So I had a duplicate card of one of the players, so I just switched it over to Mike Wallace. Just it doesn't. I'm not playing these cards, right? I don't play these in games, so it's just a placeholder for the drafting purposes. I could just use a blank piece of cardboard, but I like to have a little more fun with it. All right, the Mets. Mets still in that World Series window. Wayne Garrett, Gary Gentry, Jerry Grody, Willie Mays. A lot of those are in a previous time. Speaking of which, Wayne Garrett, oh, actually, he can be a full-time player here again, but the 224 might be a little too much. He's a full-time player in 73 and he hits like 250, so I'd go with that. Though I think he's a 4, a third, not a 3. But the idea that he can hit lefties and righties is very advantageous. Grody, I think a -3 arm is in one of the leagues, and that's selection 1. But if the -3 arm is not taken, then this Grody card, pretty good. 257 hitting catcher with a -2 arm, power against lefties. The rookie class for your New York Mets. They smuggled Lee Lacy away from the Dodgers. That's nice. 282 hitter as a pinch hitter. Look at all the doubles. Second and short and third. You know, he's actually a step above Ted Martinez, who they currently have. Interesting player. Lacy would have a nice long career. Doesn't play the outfield yet. John Milner. Now, he has a nice little tenure with the Mets and with the Pirates. He's a 3 at first. And he's got plenty of power. And he can hit lefties okay. And I want to say this guy hits, what? It's tough. This one's tough. 267? 252. But to 20 home runs and 66 walks, that's a nice little player right there. John Milner. You know, not an all-star, but still decent enough to be a full-time first baseman. I think the Mets still have Cranepool, though. Ed Cranepool at that spot. George Theodore, the previous year for him, he only hit lefties and didn't hit righties. And somehow, in one season, he's turned the tide. And now he's only hitting righties and not lefties. Oh, 32%. No, the batting average is going to be horrible. I'm betting 180 or something. 158. But you know what? This is what I mean. You have to really look at the Strat card. Because you would throw this in the trash, right? But this 158 against righties isn't that bad. He's got on-base percentage and power and a home run 5. A-bunner. You got to kind of look with rose-colored glasses at these really bad players. See if you can find a spot in your league. Apodaca in the bullpen. Relief starter. He's fine. Probably not a closer, but a nice setup guy. 350. Harry Parker, he's got a better year in 73 than this, so we would take that one. Yeah, this one's not as good. Those are your Mets, and nothing really amazing there, I have to say. I'm not sure what they're going to do in 74. Could be the window starting to close from 74 onward. The Phillies, and I think we got a rookie here that will probably be in the draft in maybe the first overall pick. First of all, your keepers are Johnny Callison, Barry Lersch, Tim McCarver, and Tony Taylor. So here's another handwritten card for Tim McCarver, and you see what I did. This is just paper. You know, I just wrote down his name so that he gets drafted. And, you know, I just write the stuff down, but it's not that important. Like I say, I just need a placeholder so I know where guys are being drafted to. This Tony Taylor card could be it. It's all on the left side, though, which is not as advantageous. So it's a 328 card. He has a 300 card that's more split. And so I think I prefer that card to this. I hate to knock this card, but it's all, well, certainly going to get into the league in a platoon, of course. But even against righties, he's not that bad. But Taylor's got another 300 card that I would take instead. Now the rookies. Here we are, Bob Boone. This is not really a rookie. It's his second attempt, I believe. 488, but I think in 73 he also has similar numbers. Where's the arm is +1. We don't want Boone with a +1 arm. Larry Haney's got a -1 arm, but he does not have a stick. No. Tom Hutton, a good fielding, slick fielding first baseman. Can have a good batting average, not much power, like a 267 hitter. 240 this year, little power. But here, ladies and gentlemen, and this is not a rookie, this may very well be the first overall pick in the draft. The Phillies own the pick, and this is how you get Mike Schmidt into the league. So he hit 196 in 73, but a year later, he's solid 2, plenty of power. This looks like a preview of what is to come. The 15710 card, he had this in 1980. He had it again in 81. Homers would be more here against righties in those years. He would have some doubles over here. But really, this is pretty darn close to what he does 6-7 years into the future. And that, 106 walks for a kid in his second year in the league, 36 home runs, first round pick. First overall pick in the draft, I believe, will be Mike Schmidt. And I kind of like to do that too when I'm drafting. Kind of look for a Hall of Famer to be the first overall pick in the draft by scouting or through trades. Not a Hall of Famer, at least a perennial All-Star. Gene Garber. Much better. Didn't do it in Kansas City. Went to the Phillies and figured out the bullpen. Jim Longborg, nice card. Plenty of young guns coming up in 74. And you can see how they're building this Philly team into the National League East perennial division winner. Dick Ruthvenels, Ron Schuler. They're okay, but they pale after you get Schmidt. I think Schmidt and Garber, Lomborg, 2 out of 3 of those guys, possibly that Tony Taylor card, might be your choices in the 74 season. All right, I'm going to take a little break here, and then we'll be back with the National League North. Okay, the National League North, we begin with the Cubs. They're going to protect Jim Hickman, Randy Hundley, Don Kessinger, and Billy Williams. Let's see who's around. A lot of those guys are veterans there. Hundley's still around, but the arm is gone. And a halfway decent bat against lefties for batting average only. Don't like it. This is not going to work. Kessinger, still a 2, still doing his bunting, hitting and running, slapping it around, hitting 267, 276, somewhere in there. 259 in this case. But that's fine. There really isn't much difference between 71 and 74 for Kessinger. So you just kind of wait and pick him in a year that you're weak elsewhere. That's kind of cool to have versatile players like this. Guys who are around the midpoint every year and never too high or too low. That flexibility is very good in the draft. Billy Williams is still delivering in 1974. We're taking his 72 card, which is probably the next best year after 70. Hits 38 home runs, 333. Has a good 73, and he's got a good 74. Look at this. Wow. Really kept it going for a nice... He's still a 3 out there, too. That's a nice card. Even it's just a slight come down, really. From 72 to 73 to 74. That's reasonable. Nice. Nice. Let's take a look at the rookies for your Cubbies. Tim Blackwell, switch hitter, not much there. +1 arm catcher, nah, don't see it. Madlock, hello, Bill Madlock, welcome to Chicago. He will, in 75, yeah, you can't wait to 75. You got to activate this guy. 75, he hits 354 or something like that. Him or Ralph Garr hits 354 in 74. But he wins the batting title. I think he was an MVP in the All-Star game. Bill Madlock. Yeah, you got to get him in the league. You got Melton over at, no, you got Santo over at third. But you got a DH. That's the advantage now in the carryover league. We've got a DH in the National League, and this is where Madlock might start. Would really want to get him in there if you're the Cubs. You need every advantage in cutting the gap against the top dogs, Reds and Pirates in your division. How about a nice Jerry Morales card? This is classic Jerry Morales. Great defense, arm, and you know he hits 278, something like that, 273, 15 home runs. You know, it's never spectacular, but it's very, very steady for this guy. Nice card for Jerry Morales. Andy Thornton, first base 2, plenty of power and walks. This card should get into the league. Hey, great news for Cubs fans. They got some young guns here. Look at this. Madlock, Morales, and Thornton. And by the way, on that keeper list of Jim Hickman, Randy Hundley, guys like that, you don't have to keep those guys just because you indicated you're keeping them and protecting them. If you find somebody you like better, like in these rookies, and they take those roster spots, you just lose them. You just lose those keepers, and you don't really care because you got a better player anyway. They're just reservations. It's like reserving a car at the airport, like Jerry Seinfeld did. And his car wasn't there. But anyway. Bill Bonham. 3.85 ERA. Forget the record. That's the Cubs. The 3.85 and the 243 innings are nice. Lefty Ken Frailing. Starter 6, relief 3. If it doesn't work as a starter, you could take a lefty and stick him in the bullpen. As a lefty who gets lefties out, kinda, sorta. 389. Another lefty. Don Hood. Definitely gets lefties out. He'd be with Baltimore, I believe, right? So you stole an Oriole. 3.47 ERA pitcher. And this is classic lefty here. Don Hood, this card gets in the league. Again, when I say this card gets into the league, I don't necessarily mean in the first year of existence. But obviously this card should be, this is the caliber of player we're looking for in the carryover league. Solid lefty reliever that, you know, gets lefties out. Zamora. Yeah, good against righties, don't like the homers. Vulnerable against lefties, but it's 3.11. Still, that is some cool stuff coming from the Cubs. The young guns, they're ready. How about the Reds? How about the world champion Cincinnati Reds? Won the World Series without Joe Morgan arriving. They did it with Tommy Helms at playing second base. They did it with Tommy Helms playing excellent second base and hitting in the World Series, I might add. Now, of course, the Hall of Fame keeper list, and obviously it's because 1970 was the year. So all those guys pop at the same time. And it's Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, Pete Rose, and Bobby Tolan. So yeah, it's a Hall of Fame list. But you got to make sure you place the new guys in the right year. This Johnny Bench is absolutely fine, but guess what? In 72, he hits 40 home runs. But in 74, he's got 33. Well, you take the 40, it's 7 more than 33, right, folks? So, yeah. I mean, gosh. Tony Perez. Oh, my gosh. Crushes lefties. Kind of ordinary against righties. Lee May is currently at first base. But again, that's a fine card for him in 74. Now, I don't like this Rose as much. I like 71 Rose and 73 Rose wins an MVP. This one is probably just around 300. 284, yeah. We can't have that. 106 walks and 45 doubles is nice. D-Stealer, he's kind of lost it. And his arm's only -1. So he's kind of fallen down in all those areas. Bob Tolan still has a nice year in 74. Is this with the Padres? Yes, so he gets traded to the Padres, and he delivers at least in a platoon. Definitely in at least a platoon, if you could make him an everyday player. He doesn't play center as well anymore. He used to be a 2 in center, now he's a 3. All right, let's look at the Red rookies. Oh boy, George Foster. So yeah, you can get this one into the league if you want, but it's okay. He'll be much better. 265, 264. 7 homers and 276 at-bats. Yeah, it's, you know, he's just getting started. He's actually been getting started since, I think, 72. But he's playing half the time here. Now, Geronimo is your 1 in center field, and finally, he's got the stick. So, this is the Geronimo. Oh, man. You got to figure out what you want to do with Tolan, because you pretty much should transition from Tolan directly to Geronimo. And while you still have Tolan, you might want to have Geronimo wait 1 more year, unless you want to stick him in right field. But this card is getting in the league. That's great. Griffey, yeah, just kind of ordinary here. It'll be a quick escalation for Griffey to his brilliant 76 card when he gets 330. So yeah, 74 not so much, but 75 and 76 he really turns it on. Junior Kennedy, just a utility player, nothing flashy. A lot of on base though, a lot of walks. A 158 hitter, and just look at that. So 6 into 25. That's probably like a 360 on base, something like that. Dick Bainey's got a better 1973 than this, and there's that. Well, of course, the Reds would be rich in talent. That should shock no one. And speaking of rich in talent, their adversary, the Pittsburgh Pirates. My goodness. Talked about Pittsburgh many, many times. They're blowing their shot of getting that World Championship. The 71 year is on the clock. This is the final year of those 1971 players. And we have Roberto Clemente, Al Oliver, Bob Robertson, and Manny Sanguillen. So, Clemente obviously won't be here. But Al Oliver will. And he's the center fielder we need. And he's he's delivering everything you'd want out of a center fielder, other than he's a 2 center fielder and hits 280 in a previous year. So you have to weigh, do you want the higher batting average, all these extra base hits, or do you want a better range in center field than a 3 to a 2? B stealer as well, B hit and runner. So there's a lot to evaluate. Which Al Oliver do you want, 73 or 74? Bob Robertson, plenty of taters there, folks. I don't care about the batting average. Love the home runs and the little bit of walks. What a fun card that is. I'm going to guess 234 with probably a 480 slugging, something like that. 229. But give the guy 16 homers in less than half a season, so that averages out to about 35 home runs. Yeah, that's a fun card, and he's a 2 again. He's much better in 71, but the thing with Robertson is the other 3 guys are much, much better. Clemente, Oliver, and Sanguillen. So Robertson's best year might be the same as one of those other guys. And if you had to sacrifice, I'd sacrifice Robertson to a weaker card. Sanguillen's not hitting 300 anymore, but it's pretty close, like 280, 290. 287 full season. The arm is still there, -2. So this is a good card, but I think he still has a 300 hitting card that should be probably picked. But what a nice little class of keepers that is. And of course, just, you know, Clemente obviously is not here. Oliver, I really like this Robertson after I've seen it. I saw the stats, wasn't impressed with those, but when you look at the card, you gonna hit that 1 to 5? You gotta ask yourself these things. You're gonna hit this 1 to 11 or not? If you decide you're not going to do it, let's look at the rookies. If you decide they're not going to hit those, you know. Dave Parker, pretty much the same cards as in 73. 282, I think he hit 288 in 73. And the beauty is, now you can wait on Dave Parker because Clemente gets to overstay his tragedy. Beyond 72, he can participate all the way into the 75 season. That's right. Clemente can go 72, 73, 74, 75 in that 4-year carryover league, which is great news for the players like Thurman Munson, that you get to use them a little bit longer, and that can only be a good thing. Lee Richard, not so much. Frank Taveras, a 3 shortstop. You know, he's probably good enough to replace Gene Alley if you don't bring him back. He's going to give you the same kind of batting average, but he'll give you some speed, something Alley doesn't have. I don't know what the E rating is going to be on this. That could determine the choice. Jim Bibby's a starter 6. That's not too bad. 1 to 3, that's good. 101. What do we got here? 474. How does it play that poorly? How does this play all the way to 474? That's very unlucky. I guess the 16 homer, oh, the triple-double on a 6. It's automatic extra base hits there. But that out, the walks, that's an out. The walk on 7. Let's dig a little deeper into the stats. So less hits, probably just a little bit too many walks, too many home runs, and a bad Texas Ranger team, and all those earned runs. Yeah, that's weird. I would not have guessed 474 for Bibby with that card. Tom Carroll. Got him from the Reds, I think, right? Yeah, stole him. That's what they do. Like neighbors fighting, Reds and Pirates. They steal each other's players. 3.69 ERA, that's pretty nice. Opportunity to get Clay and Tom Carroll in a game against each other. That'd be kind of fun. Alan Foster. Okay, I think you stole him from the Cardinals, did you not? Yes. That's what they do. That's what you do. If you rip your when you're drafting outside of your team, go to your division rivals and steal their players. That's the classic strategy. You can manage it. Last team tonight, the Cardinals. Nice keeper list. We got Ted Sizemore, just acquired from the Dodgers. Reggie Smith, just acquired from Boston. Bill Sadakis, Chuck Taylor. Nice list. Nice list. So Sizemore's a 2 second baseman, good bat handler, 260 hitter. Pretty much going to give you the same symmetry all 4 years. Doesn't matter which year you take, but it's, you know, a later round pick. Let's just put it that way. And here's Reggie. Can't play center. I don't know if that's important or not. But as a right fielder, 2-4, and that's everything you want. That's going to be a 3-something, and that's going to be a ton of homers too. He's a Cardinal, 309, 23 bombs. You know, the E ratings are all computed in the spreadsheet, and sometimes that might ultimately decide break a tie between which card you pick. Reggie Smith was like a 2E16 when he was with Boston most of the time. In 1980 with the Dodgers, he's a 2E2 in right field. So when he got older, he didn't drop the balls anymore. They were hit to him. Pretty interesting. All right, Sadakis, don't worry about this card. It's good, but 73 is a monster card with tons of home runs. So 73 Sadakis will be taken. Chuck Taylor, relief closer. Would like him to be the closer, gives up a lot of homers. The one, that's nice. The lack of walks is nice. He's not really a shutdown closer, is he? But he's a good right-handed reliever with probably like a 2.85 ERA or something like that. 2.17 with 8 home runs. I guess the lack of walks helped that. Yeah, no homers against lefties. Ton of them against righties, but an out there. Yeah, I'd like to get him to be the closer in his best year. I don't know if this is his best year or it might be 73. I'm not sure. That's what the draft is all about. But you get a look at him here. And let's look at the young guys. Jack Heidemann, third and short. Nice batting average. Like a 282 hitter. 271. It's just a pinch hitter probably. But that's good enough. Not in year one, but you know, eventually backup reserve player. How about Mark Hill with a -1 arm as a catcher? Plenty on base. The on base percentage, the walks help this guy out with a -1 guard. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's not glamorous. And it's 238 hitter. Look at the at bats. So I'm kind of glad Strat-O-Matic actually made these cards. They could have like not, I don't know what they would have replaced them with, but yeah, that's a fun card. And for a -1 arm catcher, I'm fine with this offense because of the walks on 7 through 10. He doesn't have those walks, then I don't want the card, but yeah. Marvin Lane. Again, these walks. Again, he probably doesn't have a lot of plate appearances, does he? No, he does. He got 100. 233 with 2 home runs. They're over here with the walks. Good defense. Good defense. And yeah, this guy could play in a platoon. I got no problems with this card. I'll always take a guy with power and walks and defense. Even a C stealer's not bad. All right, we got a rookie here. We got probably the Rookie of the Year candidate, Babe McBride. Rangy 2 in center field. The ability to hit lefties is okay. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. Some years he crushes lefties, McBride does. Not good here, but it's good enough to be an everyday player. With power, 8-bunter, and a stealer, 17-runner, and of course, just crushes righties, which is what you want anyway. Got a walk there. You're going to make that 19 all the time. A hit by pitch in that column. Oh, I love this. 319. What's the percentage? Let me see. Oh, wait a minute. 303. 309. 309. You'd like a little more extra base hits for such a speedy guy as Big McBride, wouldn't you? More extra base hits than that, but still, as his second year in the league. Remember we talked about Reggie Smith before? So McBride gets center field and Reggie Smith gets right field is what you can do within the 74 season. Ken Reitz, do you need him to play third for you? Or can you wait? Everyday player, third baseman who actually crushes lefties. He's got power okay, he's got full-time power. Doesn't have one on those card against lefties. This guy would hit like 10 homers in a full season. He's got 7 in a full season. Didn't walk a lot, but he might be a 1 in some of the years. But it'll be at least a 2. Everyday solid third baseman Kenny Reitz. Rich Folkers, another good left-handed reliever. You know, I'm really pleased after I saw the Cubs and the Cardinals at how solid they are, because they are not in a good situation being in the same division of the Reds and the Pirates in their heyday. It seems like it's a 2-team race in most years, and the Cubs and Cards don't have a clean shot at winning the thing. But at least the Cubs and Cards are getting better young players and giving them a chance. Another guy, Bob Forsch, starter 7. He's ready to go. Another, Mike Garman. I mean, this team is ready to go here, folks. Len McLaughlin. Got him from the Red Sox. Starter 8. I think he's on 3 days rest. Yes, he is. Ready to go. Cardinals. Make a move. So, we talked about the Pirates haven't won a thing yet. They haven't won a World Series yet. And maybe the Cardinals and Cubs do the same kind of damage, you know. Do that same kind of damage. And wouldn't it be fun if the Cubs and Cards won the division in wild card, and maybe the Reds Pirates just had some freak year-long slump? Could happen. Not likely, though. Anyway, that was a fun division. This is, I'm going to call this, and it usually is in this timeline, this is the best division of the 8 in it. Because, again, Reds Pirates are at the top of the league, top shelf. They don't have any weaknesses, really. And the Cubs and Cards you just saw have young people coming up to do good stuff. For the Cardinals, it doesn't really work out until 1982, which is a shame because they have a bunch of 300 hitters and switch hitters all throughout the late 70s. You know, Ken Obergfelds and Gary Templetons and guys like that. And the Cubs, eventually they'll get Bill Buckner and Dave Kingman. And so, yeah, this is the best division. And maybe you get 2 wildcard teams from this division for once. That might be the solution to make everybody happy. All right, that's it tonight. I got one more division to do. One more. The Mountain Time Zone expansion teams and the National League West. We'll do that next week. Thanks for checking out the 1971-74 Card Set Analysis Part 3. We'll see you next time.